Hello and welcome to another episode of Carry On Gaming. The Game Boy Advance, particularly this Game Boy Advance, the Spice Orange version that's only released in Japan, is probably my favourite version of all of them. It's orange, it's a brilliant colour, and matches the GameCube that came out in Japan at the same time perfectly. But like all Game Boy Advances, it has a problem. The screen on it is beautiful, but most of the time you can't see it. If you're trying to play a game, unless you get the lighting absolutely perfect, you really do struggle to see anything on the screen, let alone try and play it properly. But fear not, there is a solution. You can fit a backlit screen into a Game Boy Advance, and then you can see everything. And it's actually really simple. Let me show you how. My kit was bought from Deadpan Robots, and it consists of three things: the screen itself and two small cables. Depending on the version of the Game Boy Advance you have, you need one or the other. I know what you're thinking. Why would I want to chop up a perfectly good Game Boy? And I don't. So what I'm going to do is try and be a bit clever. I'm going to take this old Game Boy, which still works, but it's not in great condition. Then I'm going to install the whole lot into this cheap £3 case that I bought from eBay. Let's have a quick look at this cheap case before we start. You know, for £3, it's not going to be great, but it's all right. You get everything you need apart from the rubber D-pads. You can't really go wrong. And for that extra finishing touch, you get a fake sticker with a serial number on the back. Extra quality. Right, let's take this beast apart. Hit the montage music. And there we go, the donor machine's in pieces. And we have a few spares. Well, we have a lot of spares because the only thing we want is the motherboard. The rest of it won't go to waste though. I'm sure I'll use it in some future project. So now for the fun bit. The screen's got to go into the new case, but as usual, it's not quite as simple as that. To make it fit, we're going to have to do some minor adjustments with power tools. Retro gaming and power tools. Doesn't get any better than this. So to make it easier for myself, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark with a pen where I need to remove some material from the case. Now this is where I made a discovery. The plastic used for making these cases is not exactly the same as the ones for the real Game Boys. If you're going to do this, don't use a Dremel on a cheap case. You will melt the plastic because it is so cheap. As soon as you try and file it, it just melts. Do what I subsequently did. Use a sharp knife. It's much easier, but of course just be super careful you don't cut yourself. This is probably the hardest bit really, because all you've got to do is just keep trying and make sure you get the right fit on the screen. You'll probably find there's pieces of plastic you'll miss, but it's probably going to take you a bit of trial and error to make the screen fit perfectly flat. Keep trying, you'll get there in the end, and when you do, you're ready to move on to the next part, soldering the wires you need to power the screen. So as you saw, the kit comes with two sets of wires, and that's for the different motherboards you can find for the Game Boy. One has 32 pins, one has 40 pins. So just so you can see what I'm going to solder, the wire is going to connect to P1 on the Flatplex. It's a super simple soldering job. Just a quick dab of flux on there to help the solder flow and stick more easily. Attach the wire, it's already been pre-tinned. Blob of solder, job's a good one. And there you go, a nice clean connection. So now we can connect the other end. This is probably the hardest job of the whole kit. You have to connect a wire to a very small solder point. Just take your time, make sure you can see what you're doing, good lights, and you'll do this really easily. It's not difficult, honestly. If I can do it, trust me, anyone can do it. And there you go, all connected. The hardest bit's now done. We just have to put the Game Boy back together and test it. Hopefully it'll work. First job, let's put the flat flex back into the motherboard. This is the one that came with the kit that we've just soldered. And then we have to bend it backwards and connect the new screen onto it, making sure, of course, you push all the connectors home fully, and we're done. So temporarily I put the case on the back, just so I can hold it all together. And we'll see if it all works. Fingers crossed. Cartridges in there, batteries are in there. Let's flick the switch and see what happens. Yay, that is looking amazing. That is so nice. Such a difference to the old screen. It's clear, it's easy to read, and it's super, super bright. So the last thing we need to do to finish this job off is to put the lens onto the new case. So just sticking it on, keeping it all nice and dust free, and there you go. That is finished. And then we have one modified Frankenstein Game Boy Advance. I'm not quite sure what to call it, but it is a really nice little unit. Games on it now are so clear, it looks so nice. You can play in the dark if you want to. Yeah, whatever floats your boat. So finally, just wanted to show you some close-up footage of how the screen looks. You can see just how nice this is. Playing games on this is such a pleasure now. I could never go back to using a non-backlit Game Boy anymore. Thank you so much for watching, and always carry on gaming.